Hey there, basketball fans. Welcome to the Dunk Dynasty Hoops Show. I'm Craig.
I'm Brad.
And we're here to talk to you today about underrated moves that happened during free agency that greatly improved the teams that made them.
Yeah, I mean, leading off, I think one of the biggest moves of the offseason that nobody, and I mean nobody's going to talk about, is Derrick Favors to the New Orleans Pelicans. The thing is, we're Jazz fans. We'll openly admit that. Having watched that guy for the last 8 years, he's really good. He's really, really good. He's
really good.
Really good. He's super efficient around the basket. He's a great rebounder. He's a great defender. He's a great weak side shot blocker. He's a good teammate. He is pretty athletic, surprisingly athletic. He is one of the best pick and roll players in the league. He's one of the best finishers around the rim. I cannot extol the praises of Derrick Favors enough.
The Utah Jazz have Rudy Gobert on their team. Two-time Defensive Player of the Year, two-time All-NBA player. There is not a small contingent of Utah Jazz fans who actually think that Derrick Favors is better than Rudy Gobert. I'm not one of them, but the fact that there are those people who think that he is better than Rudy Gobert just kind of tells you how underrated of a player Derrick Favors really is in the national media.
He just turned 28, so he's just entering his prime. He's going to fit perfectly along the side Zion. He doesn't stretch the floor, right? He's not a great shooter. His range is probably to about 17, 18 feet. He started trying to dabble in shooting threes last year here with the Jazz to limited success. But when he's sharing the court with somebody like Zion, with JJ Redick, with Drew Holiday, he's going to fit that team really, really well. Like, New Orleans to me is on top of the League Pass rankings for teams I really, really want to watch this season. I think they're going to be a blast.
And Derrick Favors, easily by far and away, and maybe this is me being biased, so I'll totally own that if I am, best backup center in the league. And that's because he was starting caliber for a playoff team, maybe even a playoff contender.
He's probably top 10 center.
Yeah.
I would easily say that. Because, I mean, obviously he's not Embiid, he's not Jokic, he's not Gobert, but he's not
DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
He's not DeAndre
Yeah, there
Jordan.
you go. That's a pretty good one. Now, DeAndre was good. DeAndre just got washed in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Sorry, DeAndre.
Sorry, DeAndre.
So who else
it was fun in Lob City.
Yeah, those were some fun times. Who else do you want to talk about? Let's talk out to you.
I know that you really enjoyed Jeremy Lamb going to
The Indiana Pacers. So, I get it. Jeremy Lamb's not a name that's going to jump off the page and scream to you as a huge difference maker. But in Charlotte last year, Charlotte had Kemba, who was their be-all and end-all and everything, and they had Jeremy Lamb. And Jeremy Lamb averaged, you could count on him for 15 to 20 points a game every single game. And now he's going to an Indiana team that might be without Victor Oladipo for at least a portion of the season. And even if Oladipo comes back healthy, and let's all hope that he does, he's still going to be able to step in, get buckets, be their sixth man, put the ball in the hoop. He's got great range. He's a nice player who got a really surprisingly good contract. I mean, 3 years and $30 million, I think it was. He's going to go in there and make a huge difference for an Indiana team that I think looks really good. Adding Brogdon. They're going to really do a pretty good job replacing Darren Collison and Bojan Bogdanovic.
I know it's not underrated per se, but I really like the Brogdon move to Indiana. Yeah. It's not every day where you get a guy who can shoot 50, 40, 90 and add him to your team. And the fun part is he's going to be the second 50, 40, 90 guy that the Pacers have had in their franchise history.
Brogdon's great. He's really, really, really good. I was a little hesitant to put him on the under-the-radar list because of how good he was and how prominent he was for the NBA's best regular season team last season. But as long as his foot holds up, because I've heard that there were some teams that even red flagged him during the draft process due to his foot. But as long as that holds up, he is a perfect addition to that team.
Yep.
Like, he can complement anybody. I think that perfect signing.
One of my favorite moves, not really one of my favorite moves because it went to one of our team's division rivals, but Jeremy Grant going from the Oklahoma City Thunder to the Denver Nuggets. Watching his game transform from when he was in Philly to Oklahoma City made me actually a really big fan of Jeremy Grant. He was a super athletic four. To me, reminded me a lot of Andre Kirilenko in his prime when he would sneak up behind somebody and get a block and get a putback, and he was just all over the place. But when he went to Oklahoma City and he added three-point range, legitimate three-point range to his game, he became even more dangerous.
He shot 39% from 3 last year. That was the one area of his game that was less than ideal before last year, and now he can shoot threes. He can shoot threes from the corner. He's super athletic. He can guard 1 through 4 seamlessly, maybe even 1 through 5, depending on the matchup. That's a huge win for Denver. Because, I mean, Denver has, for as good as Denver is, their biggest flaw is defensively. Garrett Harris is a good defender. Torrey Craig's a good defender. Paul Millsap is a good defender in spurts, even though he's gotten a little bit older. And that's really about it. I mean, we all love Jokic, but Jokic is a mediocre defender. Jamal Murray's not great. But Jeremy Grant is a fantastic defender. He can start for them. He can come off the bench for them. I think he's their long-term replacement for Paul Millsap, and it cost them a first-round pick. I mean, they're going to be a top team in the NBA. So getting Jeremy Grant for what could end up being like the 25th pick, steal.
And not only that, Denver Nuggets can legitimately play 5 out. They're a dangerous team now.
They're going to be good. They're going to be really good. Another under-the-radar signing I like is also in the Western Conference and kind of the same ilk. That's Mo Harkless. And Mo Harkless getting traded to the Clippers is huge for one primary reason. He was I don't want to go as far as to say he was a lockdown defender for Portland last year, but he was a critical piece of their defensive puzzle. I mean, we all love Dame, we all love CJ. They're not great defensively. They're a little undersized. They don't have the range and the switchability. But Mo Harkless covered up a lot of their mistakes. I mean, Al-Farouq Aminu did the same thing. But Mo Harkless, you think about that guy on the same team with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, those guys switching 2 through 4, holy cow, that's going to be crazy.
They might have the best defense in the NBA. Like, Paul George was top 3 candidate in both MVP and Defensive Player of the Year voting. Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, should have been.
He missed a lot of games.
He did miss a lot of games, but, I mean, Rudy Gobert missed a lot of games 2 years ago, and he won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. Can't forget about Pat Bev. Pat Beverly is an amazing defender from the point guard spot. There's the little, we'll see how they defend bigs, because there are, like, Zubac is not great, and Harrell's kind of small. But man, 1 through 4, they're going to be able to guard everybody and lock them down.
Moving on down to Dallas, Seth Curry. I think him rejoining the Dallas Mavericks is a great move, a great signing on them. Which Curry had the higher 3-point percentage last year? Do you remember? Because I don't. That's how good Seth Curry improved.
I think it was Seth.
I think it was Seth. I can't confirm or deny that, but I think Seth Curry had a better 3-point percentage than his older brother Steph. Man, that is really hard to say back to back. But anyway, he was able to go up and play behind Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum and get a lot of great experience in Portland, get a lot of great playoff experience going to the Western Conference Finals. And now he's going back to the Dallas Mavericks, who, like I said, they're building around Luka and Kristaps. And what he's going to do is he's going to provide that 3-point shooting and that spacing that Luka needs to go to work. Dallas, for me, is one of the underrated teams, and they're kind of one of my dark horses to make the playoffs. I don't think they will, but if they made it into the 7th or 8th seed, wouldn't surprise me at all.
Here's the thing about Seth. I think that he's not quite as athletic or long as his brother. He doesn't have the handles that his brother has. He has a lot of his brother's game. Like, he's really underrated. I've always been of the belief that if Seth were a starter for a team, he'd probably be putting up 20 points a game. Like, call me crazy, but I think he'd consistently score 20 a night. He's just as pure a shooter as his brother is. He's really good at what he's good at. Like I said, he doesn't get to the rim as well, but the guy is lights out. And I think he'll fit really well on that Dallas team. It's a perfect role for him because it allows him to play off ball because Luka's going to be handling the rock. And I think that just sets him up to do what he does best. Get open, knock down shots. Honestly, in terms of another under-the-radar signing I really like DeLon Wright going to Dallas as well. Like, DeLon, the one thing he can't do is shoot, but he can do everything else. He's a great rebounder, he's a great passer, he's a fantastic defender. I think Dallas is shaping up pretty well. They're still probably a piece or two away from making the playoffs, but they made some smart signings this offseason.
Yes, they did.
And rapid fire, I mean, we're not going to get into these guys, but there are a couple guys that I really like that are very under the radar. I really like Rondé Hollis-Jefferson signing in Toronto. That guy is a rangy defender. I think he'll do a really good job there. I actually really like Al-Farouq Aminu in Orlando. They have a lot of power forwards, but the way that guy plays defense can't be denied. I really like Thad Young going to Chicago. Thad is a good defender. He's a good teammate. He's a great glue guy. He'll be really, really good on a young Bulls team. I actually really liked Dwayne Dedmon going to Sacramento as well. They paid him a lot, but he shoots threes, he defends. He's one of those rare 3-and-D centers that I think will really, really help them in them trying to make the playoffs. And as one last under the radar signing, I actually really like Avery Bradley to the Lakers. He hasn't had a great couple of years since his last good year in Boston, but he's got a ton of talent. And if there's any teammate in the NBA who can get the best out of somebody who like Avery Bradley, it's LeBron.
My last one, and it might not be considered under the radar, but I really like JJ Redick going to the Pelicans. I'm not going to go into that one because it's obvious with JJ, and that's also why I think it might not be an under the radar one. But great move for the Pelicans. I have them making the playoffs this year. Thank you for giving our video a watch. If you want to go ahead and give us a subscribe, give us a like, write us a comment, let us know where we're crazy, let us know if there's another underrated move that we missed. I mean, there's probably more than one. That's why they're underrated. Hit that bell if you want notifications for our next video. We'd be more than grateful.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good night.